Hello there, welcome back to the channel. We talk about stuff happening in the VTuber world. And today we talk about Dokibird, defending herself against allegations that she failed to pay an artist tens of thousands of dollars to build a Dokibird custom PC for a Tiltify charity event that took place around March 2024. The allegations against Dokibird were provided by a drama tuber going by the name of Katliente. He's also known as Katliente. Katliente would make this YouTube video calling out Doki for mismanaging her PC auction and for leading an artist on for an entire year. Katliente accuses Dokibird of not paying the artist for work she already did. So I've watched Katliente's video, and basically the allegations are there were managerial changes within Dokibird's management. There were 3 different managers who tried to sort out the situation throughout the entire year, and they kept fumbling the bag, screwing up. There were also mismatched expectations regarding the pricing of the PC, which the artist chose to increase as the conversation continued. So that's that. In response to the allegations against her, Dokibird would put out a Google Doc debunking the allegations and explaining the situation, claiming the reason why Dokibird failed to pay the artist was because the artist failed to provide proof that she had started work on the PC. Dokibird and her management was fully intent on reimbursing the artist and paying up the tens of thousands of dollars as long as the artist was able to provide proof that she had started on the work. Now, before we take a look at the Google Doc explaining the entire situation, especially Dokibird's side of the story, we need to talk about 2 things. First, Katliente, the drama tuber who made the Google Doc, accusing Dokibird of not paying the artist, as well as the artist celestefleurs, who's assumed to be the person responsible for failing to build the Dokibird custom PC. In regards to Katliente, the person responsible for putting out this 1-hour-long hit piece against Dokibird, her reputation isn't exactly spotless. And so there were people who cast doubt on Katliente's accusations against Dokibird, who did have a good reputation within the VTuber community. And we have Devil Kitty saying, "I don't know what this is all about until later, and I realized that it's Katliente. That person has been harassing VTubers with fake news and misinformation for a while. Why does she have an audience or a platform? Baffles me. I'm also surprised the only people in support of her, the video and hating on Dokibird, are Niji sisters." Now, responses towards the Dokibird situation are mixed. Some people siding with Dokibird, basically all the dragoons sided with Dokibird, just as God intended, and we have someone accusing Dokibird of being a horrible person. With Chimo saying, "This is so fucking disgusting. You picked the artist and said you would do it. After you finish the deal, the charity has nothing to do with it. This is manipulation and guilt tripping." Chimo would say, "Doki is not a good person if this is how she deals with conflicts." Now, before we take a look at the Google Doc, let's take a look at the original charity auction. This is Tiltify. This is the place where a lot of people fundraise for charity. It's a very special website. Dokibird also used this charity website to host her own fundraiser for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. Basically, Dokibird promised a Dokibird-themed PC for the person who decided to pay the highest amount of bids for the PC. And you can see someone won the bid for $6,600. Wow, that's a lot of money. And this is basically the Dokibird themed PC. You can see it was designed by an artist called celestefleurs. You can see her Twitter is over here. Dokibird's management also provided a PC part picker, which explains how much each part of the PC costs. And here it says the PC is valued at $3,500, or $3,500. And if you click the link on the PC part picker, it goes here and shows you every single item that costs roughly $3,500. I know it says like $4,000 here, but that's because the prices of the PC parts have increased since then, and so it just looks more expensive. If you go back using Internet Archive, it's roughly $3,500. And you can see at the top, it's celestefleurs. This is why everyone assumes that celestefleurs is the artist responsible for building the PC. And it is shocking because celestefleurs has a good reputation. This is basically a website where she sells her custom-built PCs. So when you heard like Dokibird fans saying, this must be a scam artist, and now you look at this, it makes you feel a little confused, because why would someone who does commissions for people who want different PCs and someone who sells like a literal cinnamon roll themed PC, it just confuses you because it shows that she can actually do the work of building the PC. So the question is, why didn't she build the Dokibird custom-built PC that Dokibird had requested? It's so confusing. Yeah, so she can do the work. By the way, she's also a content creator. She has a bunch of TikTok videos that she makes. if you go onto her, TikTok, you can see she has 148k followers. And you can see her like talking about PC building and stuff. And she's quite popular. She knows what she's talking about. She's been here for a while, so it makes no sense why this girl would want to scam Dokibird. But apparently she did. And that's the crazy part. I know it's like assumed because Katliente chose to redact most of the information. But Katliente also chose to redact like this PC part picker link. Like she redacted this part, and when you click on it, it just goes to like celestefleurs. And a lot of the managers, like 3 different managers, were like talking about the PC part picker stuff, talking about the 3500. It obviously makes no sense to include the artists here if you don't intend of them making the PC build in the first place. That's why people think it's celestefleurs who failed to build the PC. According to the artist herself, celestefleurs is an LGBTQA visual artist and digital content creator based in the UK, who is known for blending hyper-feminine kawaii aesthetics with technology. Celeste specializes in designing and building custom pastel-themed gaming PCs such as her strawberry cat pink PC with a heart-shaped water cooling system. She's passionate about making the gaming industry feel accessible through her self-expression, and is best known for her how to build your own pink aesthetic PC tutorial with 1 million views on YouTube and viral short videos. Celeste's innovative approach to PC design earned a Bloomberg Business Week feature in Gamers Are Turning PCs into fantasy worlds of their own, and this article was written but is published on February 2025, where Celeste's ability to turn gaming hardware into meaningful works of art was recognized globally. Her influence extends beyond pop culture into academia. Her tech competency and the pink PC illuminating the iMac G3 and PC builds was published in the Journal of Feminities 2024, and this directly examines Celeste's impact on how femininity and technology are understood today. Researchers at RMIT University AU were so inspired by Celeste's work that they developed My Dream PC, a browser-based game that captures the spirit of her imaginative designs. So yeah, this girl has a good reputation. She's shown she's competent in making PCs. It's literally one of her jobs, and so it's really strange why he failed to build the PC for Dokibird. Of course, there's no guarantee that celestefleurs is the one who built the PC. People are assuming that because it is on the Tiltify charity auction website. You can see this link right here was basically the PC part picker like link that the Dokibird managers were talking about. I guess there's still a chance that it could be someone else and some other artist. But anyway, who the artist is not important because the artist has not actually responded. Katliente put out the video herself using Discord screenshots, which we don't know the source of. So there's that. But enough of that, let's take a look at Dokibird's Google document. Here we go. This is the full statement on the charity auction and recent allegations by Dokibird. To everyone following the situation regarding the charity auction, Dokibird would say, I want to address the claims that have been circulating, particularly in a recent video. This video in particular by Katliente. This has been an incredibly difficult experience, but I believe the full story deserves to be heard. First and foremost, Dokibird would say, I accept that the handling of this auction item was far from ideal. I want to sincerely apologize to those impacted, especially the winner. And the winner is basically the person who put the winning bid, $6,600 for the Dokibird themed PC. For the delays and the confusion, I tremendously appreciate the patience and support the winner has shown me. I take responsibility for how things unfolded, but I also need to be transparent about the challenges that were taking place behind the scenes, many of which have not been shared publicly until now. Dokibird continues saying, I feel that it is time that I share this with everyone as I've come to terms with what has occurred in the summer. At the time this auction was concluding, I was in the middle of a serious and distressing transition. My previous management team had taken full control of my brand, and I was actively working with lawyers and police to reclaim ownership of Dokibird. During this time, I was also forced to move out of my home under police supervision, a situation so severe it required formal reports and the help of personal friends and staff. It was during this incredibly turbulent time that the charity item fell into the hands of my team, while I was trying to survive and restart my life from the ground up. I won't go into too much detail, but this screenshot is a snapshot of how bad it was. And before we take a look at the screenshot, when she says there was a distressing transition, it was about the Niji-sanji controversy. Dokibird used to be a VTuber called Selm Tatsuki. He used to work at Niji-sanji, but after a controversy and 2 different unalive attempts, he left the company. It was a very large controversy at the time. Obviously, it was very stressful. And I remember that the termination letter from Nijisanji that they put on Twitter was around February 2024. And this auction, I believe, since it ended on March 2024, took place several weeks after the Nijisanji controversy dropped regarding Celestefleurs. So when she says it's distressing, I can understand that. Actually, moving on, Discord screenshot, Dokibird saying, "She just left. I only have a small window of time to leave the apartment before she comes back. Are the police coming? Because I won't be home when they do." Someone would say, "Exit the apartment. They are almost there." Dokibird would say, "I'm packing up right now to leave." And we have someone redacted saying, "Grab a charger. Officers calling you." Someone responds saying, "Please let me know if everything is okay." Okay. So to be fair, Dokibird continues, "My team and I were under a lot of pressure. We still came out of this and had to immediately start to pick up the pieces of the business. And during this time, there was no attempt from the other side to follow up or reach out after the initial silence. My staff wasn't sure how to proceed, and I, truthfully, was overwhelmed and unable to manage the situation while trying to re-establish basic stability in my personal and professional life." This is a Discord screenshot of someone saying, "Hey Doki, there's a metric ton of work that's still unfinished, unaddressed, and as much as I'd like to give the room to let you settle in the move, it still needs to be done. We can't keep pushing things back. It's already unprofessional that things have been delayed this long." And this is a Discord screenshot made on May 2024, I think. This guy would also say, "Charity auction still has multiple items that need addressing. The most important being the custom PC, which has still made no progress. And I've received another inquiry as to where the plan for it is. Bottom line is there needs to be a new builder arranged for at least a budget, $6,600, allocated to either the build, the entire thing, or reimburse the bidder in full." And now we have Dokibird speaking, saying, "Eventually I stepped back in personally to handle the PC build when it became clear it was dragging on for far too long. I contacted the builder myself and was informed of a prior medical emergency. Still, no follow-up ever came from them afterward, despite months passing, and I had to initiate contact again. As for the auction process itself, the starting bid was always intended to reflect the cost of the item. This was standard across all auction pieces, and many artists we worked with and confirm this fact." Dokibird continues saying, "I was confused when the PC build kept increasing in the quoted price from $6,000 to $8,000 to $12,000 and then $14,000 with no consistent rationale. I even offered to pay more than the original bid due to the delays, but the shifting figures and eventual threat of daily penalties for missing an arbitrary deadline left me overwhelmed and unsure if I could continue the partnership. The builder provided irrational hours in the time log, asking for obscene amounts and services we never agreed on. Eventually I was told I'd owe $4,000 in cancellation fees, yet I had not agreed to any finalized scope or cost. There was no contract signed between me, Dokibird, and them directly. Here's one of the quotes they sent us. Okay, let's take a look at this figure right here, which Dokibird provided, and oh my god, it's absurd. So the artist wants like 32 pounds per hour, and she's claiming after 80 hours of work, Dokibird owes like more than $10,000 just because of labor alone. And the estimated PC costs, like the PC parts, are like $3,800. Like the entire labor to make this PC, this Dokibird custom PC, just costs more than the PC parts themselves. How is this okay? Like the labor costs more than the PC parts used to build the PC? Like, what is going on here? $10,000 is 3 times the cost of the PC parts. What the hell is going on? This is absurd. Now Dokibird is explaining, and the timesheet they claim to have accumulated already for 120 hours, which my staff and I found untruthful, especially when I was not shown any proof of labor. We requested if there was a way to provide us proof, which was then ignored. Throughout this, I asked for one thing multiple times: a time-lapse video of the PC build that was drafted, which the builder themselves had originally said existed. They, the artists, told us it existed, and I asked if I could see it. But I was then ignored. I even stated in writing that I would pay the full amount. No question asked. Despite multiple requests by me and my staff via email, it was never delivered. At this point, The builder's behavior was showing bad faith to me, buyer. And here we have a Discord screenshot of Dokibird from the 12th of February saying, "We have requested these items multiple times in various emails and DMs, and you, the artist, have stated that you would provide them, but we still have yet to receive the items. We said that we are willing to provide compensation if these items were provided, but we do not understand why this has been ignored multiple times." Right, for any Dokibird fans, any dragoons out there watching this video, this is where you get to celebrate. That's right, Dokibird just proved that she did actually say she was willing to compensate the artist completely as long as the artist provided proof that she did work on a PC. Dokibird also provided an email that her team sent to the artist responsible for building the PC. Dokibird's team saying, "We have never agreed or communicated in any way any pricing of anything for you to make a quote for us, and that this would be a chargeable service. No other company does this, and you did not make it clear to us you are charging us for this as a service in any shape or form. When we reached out to you in 2025, you did not inform us that every time we interact, it would be charged. You claim to have worked in the past before 2025 with Dokibird Production Inc. on things regarding a mock-up created about a year ago, and you wish to get paid for those services provided, and that item isn't on your timesheet and wasn't charged. This raises even more questions on our end because you stated that mock-up was the work that was being charged for until you added the other items later on with no tangible proof, wrapped up as services that weren't communicated that this would cost money or further discussed, signed, or approved on. You have also disappeared for 6 months without notifying us in the beginning until 2 different managements gave up talks with you. We also still have yet to receive the time-lapse video, which we requested multiple times, and you have stated you would provide it to us, full stop. If you do not have the time-lapse video, then please tell us the truth that you do not have the video." Okay, that was Dokibird's team confronting the artist. Did she have the time-lapse video or not? We need to know. Otherwise, she can't get paid. Dokibird continues, "And then came 2 incredibly personal accusations that crossed the line for me. That I was pocketing charity money and that I did this for a tax write-off. These were not the only false but deeply hurtful. All money from the bids went directly to the charity through Tiltify. I paid artists out of pocket, including shipping and production costs, and in some cases even covered or increased their rates myself. To be accused of using this for personal gain was crushing, especially as someone who has consistently tried to share what I have with others." Okay, just some thoughts on the situation. Like, Dokibird has a really good reputation among artists. Even before she became Dokibird, she commissioned a lot of art projects, she paid artists out of pocket, and now as Dokibird, well, after her return to Dokibird, she has continued to be generous with artists working on the projects. And so to hear like Dokibird being accused of not wanting to pay an artist, of doing this for tax write-off, it does seem scummy on the artist's part. Or maybe there was a miscommunication between the artist and Dokibird. I don't know for sure. Anyway, let's continue. Due to how emotionally charged the situation became, I chose to step away and let my team manage it more professionally. I was on a rare, long-awaited vacation at the time, while also suffering from severe food poisoning, and still trying to resolve the situation behind the scenes. This was a well-documented event on stream and on social media. Anyone who knows me knows that I rarely take time off. True. This was a trip to Japan for my first LAN Apex event, which had been planned for months. I remember this. She went to the aquarium and took photos of penguins and stuff. I made a shot about it as well. Yeah, and confirmed this actually happened. Dokibird continues saying, "Eventually I worked with a new PC builder using my hide case. I upgraded all the parts at my own expense and tried to spend nearly $10,000 to deliver what was promised. Unfortunately, Amazon cancelled my parts I had ordered shortly before the winner's travel date, meaning we could no longer deliver the PC on time. At that point, the winner and I mutually agreed that I would send them $7,500 to build their own non-themed PC. We considered the matter settled." Okay, let's see here. $7,500 given the person who won the bid for the Dokibird theme case. Winning bid was $6,600. Dokibird gave the guy $7,500. If this isn't her taking responsibility for the winners, I don't know what is. So yeah, the matter's resolved, at least with the person who put out the bid for the charity. And this is a Discord screenshot of the PC part orders that Dokibird placed on Amazon. And all the parts were like $9,000 in the end. And the order was basically cancelled by Amazon themselves, which is pretty strange. Anyway, 2 days later, the video was posted after the payment had already been made and the the issue had been settled. The video description and pinned comment were edited after the fact to say that I'd paid the auction winner, but it falsely implied I only did so because of public pressure. That's simply not true. So according to Dokibird, she tried to build the PC herself, but Amazon wouldn't let her. They cancelled her order for PC parts. And this was on the 20th of April 2025. That was last month. And now it's around May. And after the payment was given to the winner of the bid for the charity on Tiltify, literally 2 days later, the video made by Katliente would be posted. So technically, Dokibird resolved the situation before this video came out. And if you can see right here, Katliente puts out, there's finally been a resolution to the situation and the buyer will be receiving a refund alongside an additional $1,000 for the troubles. The artist still has not been compensated for their involvement in the project. Well, if they could provide proof they worked on the project, they would be compensated. And this is basically Dokibird sending the $7,500 to the winner of the bid. And this was May 11th, 2025. Katliente's video was made on May 13th, 2025. Dokibird did pay the winner of the bid anyway. Dokibird continues saying, I didn't screenshot anything from our conversations in the Discord group because I'd hoped to resolve this privately without dragging it into the public eye. But in hindsight, that was naive. I've always tried to avoid public conflict, but now I'm being forced to defend myself from a one-sided narrative. The pain cuts deeper when I see people claiming I didn't want to pay because it was the most expensive item. That's not true. I've paid for other auction items valued even higher. And this was never about avoiding payment. It was about trying to navigate an increasingly confusing, emotionally fraught and mismatched situation in the middle of one of the most hardest years of my life. For context, I've always tried to treat the artists I work with fairly. Sometimes I pay late because I'm overwhelmed or unwell. And as my community knows, I've faced numerous health and personal challenges lately, but I always pay. I've covered late fees, offered bonuses, and donated to artists in need. To now be accused of being manipulative or exploitative after everything I've given financially and emotionally is devastating. Dokibird continues saying, I'm not perfect, I get emotional, I talk from the heart, not always from a business-only place. And yes, I should have kept some personal matters out of these conversations, that's on me. But I'm only one person trying to keep everything afloat. Be called a manipulator or a gaslighter when all I've done is to try to fix things, learn and grow is deeply unfair. This entire experience has broken my heart. This statement was not something I ever wanted to write. But after being repeatedly asked to say something, and after having personal pain used for public drama, I felt exploited and I felt I had no choice. I hope this is the only time I'll have to speak on this. Moving forward, I will no longer be handling direct negotiations for my brand. I've learned that my emotional communication style makes me vulnerable to being misunderstood or misrepresented, and I don't want that to affect others. I hope people will take a moment to hear the full context and not just the most viral part of the story. Thank you to those who have shown patience, understanding, and support. Apologies for my break this week because I'm tired and all I want to do is spend time with my closest and only family right now, as my dog has just got home after surgery and rehabilitation. Dokibird ends with this. I'm still learning, I'm still healing, and I'm still trying to do better every day. Well, we got the good ending. Dokibird did want to try to pay the artist for the work that she did, but she can't pay tens of thousands of dollars if there's no proof of work. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. This is Terry Nebula, signing out.